Lady Dimitrescu is without a doubt the most popular villain in Resident Evil Village, gracing every media outlet. She was in every teaser, and she has her own G Fuel flavor, Maiden's Blood. She's a spectacular creature. If looks could kill, she'd be the most lethal. Her speech,
Mother Miranda, I must protest.
her mannerisms, her appearance makes me feel like she was plucked right from a 1950s film. She's very tall, 9'6". She towers over every other tyrant in the series.
That's a huge bit.
How could something this stunning be so deadly? One fateful day, when the village succumbed to an unknown illness, Mother Miranda swooped in, disguised as a savior. She distributed a cure. Early stages showed some signs of relief throughout the people. This evidently boosted confidence among them, where she treated the entire village quickly. This cure was the Cadeau in secret, where she was planning to find a new vessel for her daughter, who passed away from the Spanish flu. For the most part, this little experiment was a failure, where a majority of the village became mindless, bloodlusting lichens. Amongst these hordes of werewolves, 4 individuals would show some potential, proving that the experiments did bear fruit. Lady Dimitrescu was gifted superb abilities from the parasite. She was able to regenerate to the point she was completely invincible. She had retractable claws that can cut through flesh like a warm knife through butter.
Like I'd let you get away.
She had a flying form that looked like a mutated sphinx with wings. Not to mention she was ageless. She stayed to age 44 for centuries until her defeat by Ethan. Lady Dimitrescu hated to be lumped together with her siblings, as she felt she was superior to them. In fact, she thought she was number 2, second only to Miranda. This causes her to constantly bump heads with Heisenberg. They get into heated arguments. Heisenberg has to bear arms whenever they're in confrontation. Personally, I think this will be a good match. I feel like Lady D and Heisenberg kind of cancel each other out, and if they fought, then it would be a stalemate unless Heisenberg knew about the knife. With all the positives she gained, she does have some negative side effects. Her height might be a gift to us fans, but she gained it from the mutation. Her long limbs is linked to her regeneration ability. She also had a rare red blood cell disease, which she had to constantly drink blood to maintain herself. This is the reason why her basement is so full of it. She had too many defects to be a vessel for Ava, but she was still recognized by Miranda. Dimitrescu was allowed to take residence in a magnificent castle as one of the 4 lords to rule over the peasants. She took up the family business, where she distributed Maiden's Blood wine to support herself. Like Moreau, Alcina was not a very good scientist. She also had a lot of failed experiments. Miranda had started a project that Lady D was ordered to finish. 3 lifeless bodies of women lay still. One day since treatment, the 3 girls have stopped moving. They almost seem dead. An insect flew out of the eldest mouth. It appears to be a common fly. 2 days since treatment, all 3 bodies are covered in flies. It appears the flies are consuming their flesh. When I opened a window, some of the flies dropped dead to the floor. It would seem the cold petrifies them. I quickly closed the window to avoid weakening the insects further. 4 days since treatment, all 3 bodies have almost been completely consumed by the insects. All that is left is a dark, writhing, human-shaped mass of creatures. It is just afternoon and the insects have started to change color. Those around the face turned pale and those around the lips turned a deep crimson. 6 days since treatment, the mass of insects have transformed into human bodies again. All 3 girls awoke, looking at me like newborns. I sense a bond between us, like mother and daughters. I have already decided their names, Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra. Over the course of several years, these women have consumed the flesh and blood of peasants and their servants. The blood of maidens was mixed into the wine. And because these women had a deep hatred for men, the men were tortured, their insides were ripped out, and they were used for scarecrows for the wine grapes. There was one man who got tired of all the man-hating. This one man went on a mission to destroy one woman against all odds. He stole the family heirloom, the dagger of Death's flowers, and attempted to stab Dimitrescu with the poisoned blade. He failed and was buried in a church still holding the dagger. One's fate could be cruel, or do we call this karma? Out of all the lords, I would say that House Dimitrescu has murdered the most people. It could be argued that they killed only to survive, but some of the murders was just brutal. The way I see it, out of the 4 lords, Donna Moreau loved Miranda. Carl resented her. Lady D was just the most jealous out of the bunch. She wanted to be the special child. She wanted to be the favorite. She questioned why was she given the castle if she wasn't the favorite. Deep down, maybe she knew she couldn't beat Carl, and maybe that ate at her. But what sucks the most is behind their backs, Miranda called them all failures. And in hindsight, Miranda was the one who murdered House Dimitrescu. The man-haters weren't just defeated by a man, they were defeated by a dad. And it's crazy to think that they had Ethan right here. They could have ended him with no issues, but because of Miranda's orders, he escaped and he brought back the wrath of God on them. When Bella was killed, we see a glimpse of some humanity from Lady D.
What have you done to my daughter?
She actually could feel something and could love others. When Daniela is defeated, she calls a meeting with Cassandra to double team Ethan.
Cassandra, come here now. Enough games. I want that man's head. Now go. Of course, Mother.
Still no use. Ethan was the perfect adversary to them. It's like Carl said, Ethan was cleaning up Miranda's failures for her. House Dimitrescu was probably doing what they thought was necessary to survive. Lady D was a devoted mother who didn't put the ceremony over her daughter's lives. In Alcina's final moments, she only thought of avenging her daughters. For her, being mother-in-chief was job number 1.